After 20 hours of agonizing labor, she thought the worst was over. Exhausted but relieved, she looked at her newborn, believing this was the start of a beautiful new chapter. But then, her husband took the birth certificate and uttered words that shattered her heart. Now let's dive into the full story. Emma's screams tore the quiet space in the delivery room. The cramping pain lasted for 20 hours, exhausted her strength, but she could not stop. She gripped her hand, her nails deeply plugged into the palm of her hand, every drop of cold sweat on her forehead. A little more, Emma. Fighting. The doctor's voice rang, rushing but encouraging. Emma bites his teeth, putting all his last strength to push. And then a shrill crying sounded. Time was stopped. She almost no longer felt the pain. Her intense breath calmed down, her heart filled with an indescribable feeling, a relief, a happiness and tears that had been suppressed for so long. She had just become a mother. Emma looked down at the tiny baby, her pink cheeks and soft skin like silk, a feeling of intense love in her. Her daughter. Emma brought a trembling finger to touch her tiny hand. She moved a little and took her mother's hand. Her tears spilled out. "Hello, Lily," she whispered, her voice choked but gentle as a lullaby. But that happy moment has not lasted for how long. A hand suddenly pulled the birth certificate from the nurse's hand. Emma looked up. "Fear. Let me fill out your name," he said. The tone did not carry any warmth. Emma frowned. She did not understand what was going on. "Daniel, I think we have agreed on my name. Lily, right?" Daniel laughed softly, but that smile had no love at all. He grabbed the pen, bent down, wrote another name on the paper. "No. She would be named Margaret, according to my mother's name." Emma was stunned. "What? Are you kidding?" Neither looked up and cold said he said. "No. They have chosen the name Lily since she was 3 months pregnant. It is the name that both love, the name Emma has cherished for months. Yet now, Daniel blatantly changed everything as if she had no voice in this. Daniel, this is not right. You can't arbitrarily decide like that." Emma tried to hold her voice calmly, but her hand tightened the blanket. At this moment, Daniel looked up, looking at her with disdainful eyes. "Why not? This is my child. I am the breadwinner in this family, and I am the one who makes the decision." His words were as sharp as the blade that cut straight into her heart. "You are her mother." She choked her voice, trying to suppress indignation. Daniel smirked, bent down to whisper into her ear. "Emma, I have no right to decide." Those words seemed to squeeze her breath. This is the man she loved, whether she was married. She could not believe it. Her hand tightened the bedsheet to the level of white finger joints. She wanted to scream. She wanted to protest. But for a moment, she suddenly realized that the nurse's eyes stood beside. The nurse, who was always with her all the time, was full of pain, naturally put his hand on her shoulder. A small gesture, but enough to make Emma feel unusual. The nurse bent down, stopped close to her ear, a small but clear voice. "Want me to tell him the truth?" Her breath choked in her throat, her heartbeat. What the truth? What was the nurse talking about? Emma's hand unconsciously put on her stomach, as if something was wrong. But Emma felt like she was about to fall into the abyss. She knew something, and that could change it all. The atmosphere in the room became so heavy that Emma felt like he was about to suffocate. The nurse was still standing there, her eyes serious, as if waiting for an answer from her. "Want me to tell him the truth?" Those words echoed in Emma's mind. She swallowed, tried to calm down, but could not hide the bewilderment in her eyes. Truth. Why did the nurse say that? Emma slowly turned to look at Daniel. He was still standing there, his face cold, without knowing what was happening between her and the nurse. His hand was still clenching the birth certificate, as if to assert the absolute ownership of the baby. A thought suddenly flashed in her head. Was it? Her heart beat hard. The breath became urgent. She stared at the nurse, her eyes full of suspicion. "What are you talking about?" Emma whispered, her voice trembled. The nurse glanced at Daniel, then turned to look at Emma, lowering her voice. He was not the baby's father. Her heart almost stopped for a moment. She heard the heart rate gauge emitting regular beeps, hearing the footsteps away from the corridor, but all of these sounds seemed to be strangled by the last saying. Couldn't have that. So. The nurse still kept her calm face, but in her eyes a little hesitant. The blood type of the girl did not match her husband's blood type. she said, trying to keep a professional tone, but there was still a seriousness behind every word. According to the genetic rule, this is impossible. Emma felt his mind reeling. Everything around it seemed to fade. It was impossible. She and Daniel were together for 3 years. She has never betrayed him. She had never. But then a memory suddenly came back, like a sharp blade that cut into her mind. That night, a year ago, she left, wandering in the cold rain alone. Then, Emma took a breath, trying to repel that memory, but it spilled like a flood. She drank that day. She remembered the feeling of loneliness and hurt when sitting in a small bar. And then, there was a man coming to her. A stranger, but gives her a sense of security in the weakest moment. She thought that the day was just a normal conversation, a fleeting comfort. Is there something happening that she didn't remember? Panic rising in Emma. No, it was impossible. She shook her head continuously, tears suddenly overflowing. Daniel realized the abnormalities in her eyes, frowned. What's going on? Emma opened her mouth, but her throat choked, unable to speak. The nurse looked at her with sympathy, then turned to Daniel, as if she was hesitating whether to tell the truth or not. But Daniel was impatient. He walked over, jerked Emma's arm, his eyes filled with doubt. Emma, what the hell is she saying? His voice was angry. Is there something I don't know? Emma clenched the blanket, her whole body trembled. What do you say? What to do? This truth could destroy everything. The nurse looked at her one last time, as if she wanted to give her a chance to say it herself. But Emma couldn't, because she did not dare to face it herself. Emma could not breathe. She felt like she was being pushed into a dark abyss, without a way out. Daniel still looked at her, her eyes full of doubt, waiting for an answer. But her throat choked hard, unable to speak. The nurse took a deep breath, as if she had decided. In the end, she looked directly at Daniel, her voice clearly but coldly. The blood type of the baby did not match him. According to genetic science, he could not be the father of this child. The room fell into a deadly silence. Took a second for Daniel to understand what he had just heard. Then his face changed. His eyes widened. His hand was grabbing the birth certificate. What? His voice was low, but he contained a boiling rage. Her heart was pounding, cold sweat spread all over her body. Daniel turned to Emma, his hands clasped. His body trembled with anger. Said Emma, "Is the truth?" At this moment she had no more way. I don't know. Her weak answer was like a knife crashing into Daniel. He laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. It was a bitter, painful laugh, as if he just realized he was just a fool who was deceived for so long. Don't know. He emphasized every word. His eyes as if he wanted to burn her. How can you not know? It's my son. And you don't know who is his father. She could not deny this truth. She couldn't escape anymore. I don't remember. Her voice trembled. That night. The night I left after quarreling with him. I drank alcohol. And Daniel raised his hand, signaling for her to stop. He doesn't want to hear anymore. His eyes were red. His breathing heavy as a wild beast. That's true, he said softly, but the voice was even more scary than the screams. I believed you. I fell in love with you. Yet you betrayed me. How long are you going to hide me? Emma cried. I didn't mean it. I don't know this happened. Destroy everything. Daniel clenched his fist, trying to control the anger that was surging in the chest. So whose baby is? She had never thought of that. She didn't remember the man's face that night. She didn't even know his name. She just remembered the feeling of pain, damage, and spicy yeast made her mind become vague. Daniel looked at her. Disappointment was clearly in his eyes. I don't even know who my child's father is. God, Emma, I'm joking with me. Right in front of her. The small pieces of paper flying on the floor, as their relationship is not saving. I was planning to forgive you if you just need to tell me that it all is just a misunderstanding. But now it's over, Emma. I can't forgive you anymore. Emma burst into tears. She tried to reach her side, but Daniel was a strange one. Others. I will never accept this. Said he turned, walked out of the room without looking back. The sound of the door slammed like a bell ended all. Emma fell down on the bed, hugging her face, sobbing. She lost everything. But this was just the beginning of the nightmare. Emma sat there for a long time, tears soaked in pillows. Her heart seemed to be strangled by someone, beating painfully, panic. She just lost the man she loved the most, also the most believing. But worse, she did not know what to do next. She looked at the sleeping baby in the cradle. Her small, innocent face did not know that its world had just collapsed. Emma trembling with her hand touching her soft cheeks. Mom apologized. I don't want everything to be like this. But what's useful? Daniel has gone. He will never forgive her. And more importantly, who is the baby's father? That thought was struggling into her mind like a cold blade. She could not remember the face of that man. Only the vague memory of a night full of yeast, hasty touches, whispering words she could not remember. But in her heart there was an invisible fear. She felt that if she tried to recall, she would face a truth that she herself did not dare to believe. She brushed away that thought and tried to stand up. But at that time, the door of the room suddenly opened. A tall figure standing there. Not Daniel, but Ryan, Daniel's best friend. Emma felt my heart tightened. Ryan, why are you here? Ryan entered, closed the door behind her back. His face did not seem angry like Daniel, but it was not pleasant. I was outside. I heard everything. He lowered his voice, his eyes darkened. Are you sure I don't remember anything that night? Ryan's question made the whole Emma's body stiff. Why did he ask that? She tried to keep calm. I drank a lot. Hidden Ray. Then he sighed, closed his eyes for a while as if he was struggling with himself. In the end, Ryan opened his eyes, stared at her and said a sentence that made her dumbfounded. Emma, I don't remember that night. But I remember. The whole world was freezing. She shook her head, her voice broke down. What are you talking about? Ryan showed a bitter smile. Emma. I am the one who is with you that night. Exploding. Emma felt his mind reeling. His whole body was cold. If Ryan was honest. Oh, this child was Ryan's child. Believe in this truth. The room was spinning. All that she once believed and collapsed in the blink of an eye. Ryan still stood there, silently waiting for her reaction. But Emma didn't know what to say. Because she didn't want to believe this truth. The room was in silence, but inside Emma was a fierce storm. She could not believe what Ryan said. It was impossible. Her voice was dry, weak as her spirit right now. Are you kidding, right? Are you lying, right? Ryan didn't answer immediately. He looked down at his hands, tightening as if trying to keep calm. A heavy sigh escaped. I wish I could tell you that it was a lie. Ryan looked up, his steadfast gaze. But it was true. I was the one who was with you that night, Emma. A horrific feeling ran along her spine. The fragmented pieces in her memory began to fold. The dim lights, the feeling of drowsiness because of the yeast. One hand touched her. But the man's face did not remember clearly. Accepting this truth will disappear. But Ryan still stands there, looking at her with his eyes both regretful and tormented. That day he drank too much. Daniel went to work again. He called me to pick him up. But I didn't do that. She whispered, her gaze trembled. Ryan looked at her for a long time, then smiled bitterly. And what do you think? Emma felt her chest tightened. Everything was too obvious. She betrayed Daniel. No, it's not right. She never wanted to be like that. She did not remember anything. She did not intentionally. But is that important? Did Daniel forgive her? Well, I will never forgive. And the worst thing is, this child is Ryan's son. Emma's hand unconsciously placed his stomach. The child that she has loved and protected during the past months was not the son of the man she loved, but the son of his best friend. She felt like she wanted to vomit, as if her body was responding to this horrific truth. Why did he say it now? She clenched her fist. The voice contained thousands of chaotic emotions. Ryan took a deep breath. Because I thought she would never remember. Because I don't want to destroy everything. He stopped, his eyes full of pain. But now Daniel knows you are unfaithful. I can't continue to be silent. Emma was stunned. What do you want? Ryan stared at her, her eyes darkened. A look that she had never seen in him before. I wanted you. And the baby. This time Emma's world really collapsed. The room became stifling, as if the atmosphere was denser. Emma couldn't breathe, could not believe what I just heard. You want I and the baby. Her voice was trembling, not sure she had just heard it correctly. Ryan nodded, her eyes were sharper than ever. Emma, listen to me. I know this is crazy, but that's the truth. I love you. Since when? How can that? I'm crazy. Emma shouted, tears rolled down. This is a mistake. It's a nightmare. I don't love you, Ryan. I never loved you. But Ryan didn't back down. He approached her. His voice was low and emotionally. She didn't want to admit, but partly in her knew that Ryan was right. Daniel has long been separated from her. He changed, no longer the man she used to love. But does that mean you have to choose Ryan? Well, it was impossible. No matter what, I never chose him, Ryan. He said. I will raise my children. I don't need you. Ryan smirked, his eyes mocked. Do you think you can do that? Do you think Daniel will accept to raise your child, not his? When he knows the truth, do you think he will forgive me? She knew it was impossible. Daniel will never forgive. Ryan continues, the voice becomes more dangerous. Think carefully, Emma. I can stubbornly hold my rotting marriage, or you can come to me, who really loves you, who will never abandon you. Emma looked at Ryan, then looked down at his stomach. Her heart seemed to be torn into two. What would she do? What would she tell the truth to Daniel, or would accept Ryan's offer? She would keep everything or would lose everything. Answer. Still open.